Everybody always wanna take from us. Now we gonna start taking back. Anybody who get in our way, gonna drown in their own blood. The Amani Empire be back now, seeking vengeance. And we gonna start with you.
Long before the Night Elves summoned the Burning Legion to Azeroth, the single continent of Kalimdor was ruled by trolls. Originally joined in a single great tribe, the Zandalar tribe eventually birthed two separate tribes that would go on to found powerful empires, the Gurubashi in the southern jungles, and the Amani in the central forests. These two empires prospered over the land, warred with the Azikir Empire, and maintained relations with the remaining Zandalari. Not until the emergence of the Night Elves did the empires falter and eventually break, and with the sundering of Kalimdor, the two empires found themselves contained to opposite corners of the newly formed eastern continent. The forest trolls were able to keep hold of much of their lands, however, and when the dust settled, most of the northern subcontinent of Lordaeron was considered a part of their empire. In the north stood their great capital of Zul'Aman, and to the south the large city of Jintha Alor, among numerous other settlements across the land. Then came the High Elves, led by Dathrimar's Sunstrider. Exiled by their Night Elven kin, they landed on the shores of Lordaeron and immediately clashed with the Amani. They founded their city of Quel'dorei atop an ancient troll city, evoking immediate aggression from the trolls. Eventually the forest trolls' assault against the city faltered, and the High Elves of Quel'dorei threw up protective enchantments around their city and marked their barriers with monolithic runestones, which helped keep the trolls at bay. The trolls, however, were not so easily discouraged. They bided their time, preparing their strength before unleashing their might in the great troll wars. To the south, the human tribes scattered across Lordaeron had begun to gather, sensing the threat the forest trolls posed. They created the Arathian nation of Arathor, and it was this new human civilization that the Quel'dorei turned to for an alliance. Exchanging the elves' magical knowledge for aid, the humans and the High Elves fought the Amani in a titanic battle at the base of the Alterac Mountains. The Amani forces were crushed against the onslaught, and the once mighty empire fell into decay, a shadow of its former glory. Centuries later, the Amani Empire has splintered into a number of scattered tribes. Only the Amani tribe still resided in their capital city of Zul'Aman, their warriors still conducting raids against their hated elven enemies. From this tribe emerged a particularly fierce troll with a particularly fierce vengeance against the High Elves. Zul'jin quickly made a name for himself through his raids on the villages of Quel'dorei, able to strike them hard and escape before countermeasures could be mounted. Zul'jin fought to take down the High Elves' magical defenses and correctly guessed that the runestones were the key. He captured and tortured High Elves, and at one time even captured the High Elf Ranger, Lorthamar Theron, but failed to secure the information from him through torture. Zul'jin quickly rose to power among the Amani, and succeeded in reuniting the splintered forest troll tribes under a single banner for the first time since the Troll Wars. Then the Orcish Horde arrived on Azeroth, defeated the Kingdom of Stormwind, and pressed the attack north, where they came into contact with the Trolls. Orgrim Doomhammer attempted to secure an alliance with the Trolls, but was initially turned down by Zul'jin. At the dawn of the Second War, however, Zul'jin was captured by the humans of Hillsbrad and saved by Doomhammer and his forces. Following this, Zul'jin agreed to ally his forest trolls with the Orcish Horde, seeking revenge on the humans and recognizing the mounting threat the Alliance of Lordaeron posed to his people. Despite the mutual respect grown between Zul'jin and Doomhammer during the war, their alliance broke apart when Doomhammer abandoned his assault on Quel'dorei in favor of a siege on the human city of Lordaeron. Zul'jin grew furious and redoubled his assault. The High Elves took advantage of the fractured army, however, eventually cornering Zul'jin on the shores of Darrowmere Lake. There, the troll warlord was taken prisoner by the ranger Haldoran Brightwing. Haldoran chained Zul'jin to a pillar and had his men torture the troll for long hours, even going so far as to gouging out his eye. Keeping the troll commander alive, however, proved a mistake, as the Amani quickly mounted a rescue, wounding Haldoran and killing many of his men before retreating with Zul'jin. Zul'jin severed his own arm with a spear to escape his bonds. His inability to later regenerate his arm, an ability usually shown among the trolls through their connection with the Loa, may suggest Zul'jin had been forsaken by the Loa. After his daring escape, Zul'jin and his forest trolls returned to seclusion, once again patiently waiting for the perfect time to strike. This moment came when Arthas, now corrupted by the sword Frostmourne and the Lich King, stormed across Quel'dorei during the Third War. The Scourge slew much of the High Elven population and destroyed the shields defending their realms. Seeing the High Elves in their weakened state, Zul'jin mounted an assault on the Isle of Quel'dorei, seizing the Sunwell with the purpose of using it as a weapon. In the end, his plan failed, and he was pushed back, raiding villages and settlements of the High Elves, redubbed Blood Elves for their brethren slaughtered by the Scourge, before eventually retreating once more behind the walls of Zul'Aman. There, he waited for the last time, gathering his forces and calling upon mysterious dark powers. When a band of Alliance treasure seekers ventured into Zul'Aman looking for riches, they stumbled upon Zul'jin and his armies. Only one survived to warn the Blood Elves of the Trolls' growing power, and by the time the Blood Elves could react, Zul'jin had learned of their alliance with the Horde and declared war on both the Horde and the Alliance. He renewed assaults on the Blood Elves, threatening the civilization they were attempting to rebuild, while the majority of Azeroth's forces were focused on Outland and the Burning Legion. Eventually, Zul'jin became enough of a threat that a band of adventurers were forced to infiltrate Zul'Aman, facing the animal gods that the witch doctor Malakras had been able to ensnare, as well as Zul'jin himself. Zul'jin succumbed to the might of the heroes of Azeroth, slain in his own home, and the forest trolls were once more fractured into several small tribes across the face of Lordaeron. Some years later, after the cataclysm rocked Azeroth, a forest troll by the name of Dakara rose to power, and sealed an agreement with the Zandalari trolls for aid in rebuilding the great Amani Empire. Zul, a leader within the Zandalari, called out to all trolls, welcoming them into this new empire. Vol'jin, who attended this meeting of the great troll leaders, declined Zul's offer and sent emissaries to both Orgrimmar and Stormwind, calling for aid in the defense against the rising Zandalari. The forces of Azeroth remembered well the threat posed by Zul'jin and the Amani, and with the help of Vol'jin, Varisa Windrunner, and Haldoran Brightwing, once more infiltrated Zul'Aman and brought the Amani forces to their knees. Though once one of the greatest empires Azeroth had ever seen, the Amani are now a broken race scattered across the lands of Lordaeron. With their fierce warlord Zul'jin killed at the hands of their enemies, and the leaders of both the Alliance and the Horde keeping a careful watch on their activities, it is unlikely the Amani will ever be able to regain the power they once had. Even so, the splintered tribes of forest trolls continue to menace local settlements, the names Amani and Zul'jin still striking fear into the hearts of many elves and humans alike.